in the run of show. Is that correct?
It was the one that was in the Slack that I think I copy and pasted the one in the run of show. Yeah, the one that's in the run of show on page 3 is not correct.
Okay. The what, sorry?
The Zoom link that is in the run of show on page 3 is the original one, and that one is not correct because that was the one that
Gotcha.
Brenna and Lauren and I were just on, and that was not the right one.
Gotcha.
Okay. Where's the right one?
The one that we're on right now, which is the one that was copied and pasted into the Slack channel.
It's also at the very top of the run of show. And just so everyone knows, we are now live on YouTube, meaning if somebody goes and rewinds it, they can see us talking right now. If they've done that, hello. We'll start here in just a few minutes. And then I'm going to ask everybody to mute themselves and then turn off your video. That way it won't. So YouTube defaults to show whoever is speaking. So if you mute yourself and turn off the video, it won't switch over to you on the live stream. So.
Hey, Ryan, would you mind making everybody a co-host that needs to be a co-host?
Yeah. Can you remind me real quick the way to do that?
Yeah, so you are gonna open up the participants panel on the side, at the bottom, and then it'll show up on the side, and then you like hover over the person's name and then click more, and then there should be a drop-down menu where you can make somebody a co-host.
Okay, it says make host. It doesn't say make co-host.
Oh, strange.
Yeah. I will make sure I'm watching the participants panel. I'm letting everybody in.
Okay, I had given Nicole's folks the wrong one, I think. So I Slacked and emailed Savannah.
Perfect.
Because
Thank
we've
you.
got time too, so we'll be good.
Ryan, do you have the Pro Zoom account or do you have just a free Zoom account?
We have Pro.
Okay, fantastic. I wondered if that was the issue with the co-host, but must not be.
I think to enable the co-hosts, it's actually a setting in the back end. If you have the Pro account, you have to like log into your Zoom account from a browser and actually turn that feature on.
Okay, gotcha.
I only see a bio for Laura and Celeste. Did I get the other ones? Can anybody answer that?
You should have gotten Nicole Galloway's. If not, then I can forward that over to you right now.
Yeah, can you send it to my jharristill@yda.org? I can put it in the chat.
Okay.
I can send you, I didn't know we needed to send bios for the speakers, so I can send you Kara's. This is Jane.
Great.
Joshua, in my bio, there's a
Jane,
word that everyone
Jane,
tried to. Go ahead.
I need one for Jane, not Cara. Cara, you're introducing Cara. I'm just doing a brief introduction of you.
Got it. Well, I mean, you're a fellow YDAer. You can just say I was a former executive director of YDA, chair of the Nebraska Democratic Party. I'll send you my.
I was like, I mean, I feel like I know you the best of all of them, besides, of course, Alicia, but I definitely wanted to make sure I said anything you wanted me to put in there.
So the one for Nicole is pretty long. If you want to just like pick and choose little facts that you see in there, that's totally fine. If you would like, I can try to skim it down really quick. It's whatever you would prefer.
I'll make something work.
Cool. Hey, Ryan, have you found out that co-host setting yet?
We would have to stop the Zoom and then start it over again after changing the setting. So I'm going to be watching the participants to admit everyone, and then just keeping an eye out to make sure people are muted and everything.
Okay, sounds good.
Ryan, I just got a note that said that you had stopped the live stream. Was that the first one?
That was the first one.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like we've got everybody up to Abby Broyles on the calls, and it is 1:01 p.m. now. So does everybody feel comfortable about going ahead and going live?
Let's do it.
All right, just make sure to keep yourselves muted and turn your video off until you get the cue from Josh.
Hello, Democrats. I am Joshua Harris Till, the National President of the Young Democrats of America, and I am so excited to be here with you today.
Hey, Josh, you are very quiet.
And I'm really excited because what we know on this call, and the speakers will definitely be reiterating this, is that we can't just campaign in the states that we consider battlegrounds. We have to campaign everywhere. Can you hear me now? Can anybody hear me now? Oh, I think I got it. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Hey, there we go. Alrighty. Take two. Good evening or good afternoon, Democrats. My name is Joshua Harris Till. I am the National President of Young Democrats of America, and I am so excited to be here with you with so many of my amazing friends. Today, we are going to be telling you a message that we understand, and we hope that you understand as well, that you cannot just campaign in what we consider battleground states, though we do need to win those, but that we also have to campaign everywhere. Blue states, red states, and purple states all need full involvement and 100% effort from every single Democrat across the country. Today, you'll be hearing from some phenomenal speakers, some of those amazing folks who have not only taken the courageous step to run for office, but some of those amazing folks who have been leading state parties across some of the most amazing states. I'm honored to be here with so many of my friends. I'm excited for you all to join us. And I want to take just a moment to talk to you about what we're doing here. Tom Perez says very honestly and frankly that so many of us need to look at ourselves in the mirror and understand that our work is going to be the difference maker. In 2016, a lot of us woke up with regret. It's up to us to make sure we don't do that in 2020. I want to take the time to introduce a great friend of mine, no stranger to Young Democrats, as she was the former executive director of our organization. She understands and values young people. She's the executive director of the Nebraska Democratic Party, and she is a world-renowned author of a book that I received as a gift and honestly has been life-changing for me. Welcome now, Jane Cleave, Chair of the Nebraska State Democrats.
Thank you, President Harris. It is so good to be with everybody today. Whether you are a dirt road Democrat or whether you are a bright turquoise blue city dweller, we welcome you to our state parties, and we welcome you at the big tent of the Nebraska Democratic Party, but of all of the Democratic parties across the Midwest. Just like Joshua said, we know that we have to compete everywhere in order to win everywhere. And that's exactly what we're doing in all of our states. They may call us flyover states, but we know that we're in the middle of everywhere where the action is, and we are getting things done. I'm so excited to introduce one of the most competitive congressional district races in the country right now, Kara Eastman. She's running in the 2nd Congressional District In Nebraska, we like to do things a little bit more unique. So like Maine, we split our electoral votes, which brings this congressional district race to the top of the map, because when Cara wins, we'll also be able to send at least one electoral vote to Joe Biden, so we can send Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the White House. Let me first tell you a little bit about Cara, and then I'm going to turn the mic over to her. Cara is a nonprofit leader. She has started and worked in nonprofits for the past 20 years. She has worked in women's shelters. She's worked with patients with ALS, and something very close to my heart, she's worked to make sure that homes in the Omaha area and all across the state of Nebraska are lead-free, making sure that our kids are being raised in a healthy and safe environment. The Republican Party is terrified of Cara. She is a strong woman, she's a social worker, and she's a fellow mom. That's why we know that she's going to have the grit and the resiliency and the tenacity to bring her bold proposals to Congress. So let me turn this over to my friend and soon to be Congresswoman Cara Eastman.
Thank you, Jane. It's such an honor to be here. Hello, everyone. Greetings from the 2nd District of Nebraska, where Omaha is. I am honored to be the Democratic nominee running and have a lot to tell you, but I will keep it short today. Things are going well here in the 2nd District, and we know that, as Jane said, we can give that electoral college vote to Biden and Harris, and also send the first woman to serve this district, which is long overdue. By trade, I'm a social worker. I worked in nonprofit organizations for over 20 years. And at Omaha Healthy Kids Alliance, which I started in 2006, I raised over $13 million to invest in green, safe, and healthy homes for our kids. I've also served on the Board of Governors of Metropolitan Community College, which is an elected position in one of the top 10 community colleges in the country. I've been appointed to the Mayor's Fair Housing Board and served on the Nonprofit Association of the Midlands Boards. I have worked in my community for over 12 years. This is a community where my husband and I chose to raise our daughter. It's a community that we love. And right now, the representative here just does not represent this district. His voting record has been 93%, voting 93% with Donald Trump. He then claims he's bipartisan. That is not bipartisan. That is a clear allegiance and alliance with a party and a president over the needs of a swing district like this. So I am running to fix our broken healthcare system. I originally decided to run because my mother was diagnosed with cancer for the 5th time and prescribed a $2,500 pill that she could not afford to take. And I have talked to so many people in the district and across the country, frankly, who are dealing with very similar things, and that even in this pandemic, prescription costs have gone up. I talked to a man the other day who said on Medicare, his prescriptions went up by 57%. Where in the free market does that ever happen? I believe in expanding healthcare, as do Nebraskans who voted to expand Medicaid in 2018. My opponent was against it then. He's voted 5 times to take away healthcare from Nebraskans and from Americans. I'm also running because we absolutely have to get our economy back on track. I support raising the federal minimum wage. I am tired of seeing people in our district struggling to put food on the table, having to work more than 2 jobs to support a family. To me, that is not what the American dream is about. And I'm running because, frankly, my opponent is bad at his job. He voted against the Violence Against Women Act, voted for the Republican tax bill, where 83% go to the top 1% of this country, and has jacked up the deficit. He has voted to take away healthcare, voted to gut protections for pre-existing conditions, and COVID will be a pre-existing condition. We have got to get him and Donald Trump out of office because they just don't represent us. So we're really excited about the state of the race right now. The latest poll has me up 3 points. The district has been upgraded to toss up by all the prognosticators. And it's a little scary to think about, but there are some people saying that this electoral college vote here in the 2nd District of Nebraska could be the tiebreaker. I hope it doesn't come down to that, but what it means is that all eyes are on the district. So we are working hard. We have a robust field program. I have an incredible team of people, a very diverse team who represent this incredibly diverse district. And we've been out We knocked doors when we could. We stopped and then started phone banking. We've been making thousands of calls to people in the district, reaching out to independents, to Democrats who haven't voted in a while, and to disenchanted Republicans who are now seeing that Donald Trump and Donald Bacon simply just don't represent their values. We're tired of hearing the rhetoric coming out of the White House. We're tired of seeing inaction. We're tired of the lack of response to COVID. My opponent even has an ad where he mocks mask wearing. He has been aligned with Donald Trump in downplaying this pandemic and failed to get the appropriate amount of CARES Act money that we need desperately in Omaha. He also has not been there for small businesses, which are near and dear to my heart, mom and pop shops, local independent coffee shops and restaurants. And he has failed them by inaction and by aligning himself with a party over people. One of the key differences between myself and my opponent is that I do not take corporate PAC money, and he does. He has taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies and then voted in their interest over ours. So I'm honored to be the nominee. Looking forward to the next 12 days and crushing this and delivering that electoral college vote for Biden and Harris. So thank you for having me here today. If you have any questions or want to get involved, it's eastmanforcongress.com. Cara with a K. We're easy to find on social media and would love to have your help, your money, your time, whatever you're able to give right now. So thanks.
Thank you, Cara. I can't wait till I can call you Congresswoman Eastman. We're excited to have you here. And like she said, go to the website. We know that that campaign is being sponsored by corporate PAC money, and hers is not. It's sponsored by grassroots donors just like you. And so we want to make sure that we show her all the support that we can. As we move along in this process, I want to take just a moment to introduce the chairwoman of Kansas. Laura Lombard is a fifth-generation Kansan. She is an international trade professional, entrepreneur, and a brand new mom. We want to say congratulations for that. Laura earned a bachelor's degree in political science and international studies from the University of Kansas, a master's in arts degree in international relations and economic at Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies. And after graduating, Laura worked with the former U.S. Secretary of Defense, William S. Cohen, at the Cohen Group, helping U.S. companies expand domestically and internationally. Laura started an international business development organization in DC called MENA Consultants Association in 2012. And more recently, she has built an online workforce development company called Epic and consulted for the Clean Energy Business Council in Kansas. She's been doing phenomenal work leading Kansas Democrats. She's doing amazing work representing us as a party, and we're excited to have her with us. Laura, will you join us?
Thank you very much, Joshua. I really appreciate it. And thank you to all of the different state parties putting this event together. What an amazing opportunity to get to talk to folks both in our state and across the Midwest and probably across the country. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity. You did a great introduction. So I'm just going to introduce a little bit about my district to start off with. Here's kind of the bad news about my district. And then I'm going to swing into the really great news about my district. This is Kochland. The Koch brothers are now actually Koch brother lives here. So this is their home district. This was, as of 3 years ago or almost 4 years ago now, Pompeo's former seat. It was my opponent now was elected in a special election we had here in April of 2007. So he hasn't been representing us for very long. And over his tenure, things have changed quite a bit within the district. 2 years ago, we elected Laura Kelly, our new governor. She did extremely well here in my district, starting to show kind of the trend towards blue that this area has been experiencing over definitely the last 4 years, and I would actually say probably the last 10. We also last year elected a new mayor here in Wichita, which is the main population center in the state and also in the district. He is a great friend of mine and a wonderful Democrat who is leading Wichita through this COVID crisis in amazing ways and really showing what Democratic leadership can do. Democrats in general across the state are just galvanized. Kansas is becoming a state that the nation is watching. We, historically have been considered a very red state, but now I would say at worst, we are a nice shade of purple. And at best, we are heading into a very big surprise this November 3rd with all the different elections that are likely to go blue this year. You probably know we have a major Senate race happening within Kansas. Barbara Boyer is running against Roger Marshall. Both are doctors, but only one of them is actually really practicing sound medicine in terms of her leadership within the over COVID and in general. She is looking really good. She's up 3 points right now. She has to win my district in order to win the election. And we've been working very closely with her campaign over the last several months to make sure that both she and I are going to Washington together. Other great thing that's happening in Kansas right now is that all of us running at the federal level, all 5 of us, the 4 congressional districts and Barbara, all women. So not only are we likely to send 5 people to Congress next year on the Democratic side, we are likely to send 5 women to Congress and really start to counterbalance more of the disparity, the gender disparity that exists within our current congressional delegations. Really excited about that. When Cara was talking, I was thinking to myself, wow, we've got really similar districts in quite a few ways. Like her, my opponent, Ron Estes, very much a Trump guy. He has actually voted 98% of the time with Donald Trump on this last congressional session, and it's not going to help him this year. Kansans, particularly those of us here in Wichita, are extremely upset with how Donald Trump has handled everything, but particularly the coronavirus this year. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Libertarians, they're all coming under one big tent in order to vote for Biden, to vote for Boyer, and to vote for me this year. We are within the margin of error of winning this race. What was not thought to be a competitive race when I first started running 8 months ago has now become extremely competitive. We just need to keep our TV ad up, make sure we've got the money for that. So like Cara, I will say, please make sure to hit the Act Blue buttons towards our way to make sure that we can do that. The other aspect I wanted to talk about that's a little different with my campaign comparatively to most is that we have invested a fair amount of time and energy and even staff into making sure that we are reaching out to our rural areas, that I am present in the rural parts of my district. The District 4 here is about 2/3 urban, suburban in the Wichita area, about 500,000 people. And then the other third, the other 250,000 people within my district are in 13 other counties outside that are primarily rural. So even though we know we've got to win Sedgwick County in Wichita, we've also put a lot of time and effort in going out to rural communities to understand how we can really help. So as the theme of today and these sessions are, campaign everywhere, that's not just campaign in every state, but also in every part of our states. We need to make sure as Democrats that we're really understanding the challenges that are happening in our rural communities. Issues around Medicare, we still haven't, or Medicaid expansion. We still haven't expanded Medicaid in Kansas. That needs to happen. That's a state level issue in terms of them actually, expanding it. However, me as a candidate, I talk about it a lot in my rural areas and the importance of it. So to make sure that people understand why they would benefit from the state doing that. Issues around rural health in general. Broadband, if I could do one major investment in our rural communities, it would absolutely be rural broadband because it fits in with all of the other areas that they're struggling with. As we know with schools this year, if kids can't go to school because of COVID, how do they go to school? If they don't have access to strong internet, that's a problem. Helps with e-commerce, helps with commerce in general in communities to make sure that they have access to markets and to customers and to resources that are found online. That's a big piece of it. Telehealth to help with our healthcare systems within rural communities, another area that we really need to be dealing with. So those are some of the places and some of the areas that we need to be considering, again, as Democrats, to make sure that we aren't just focused on our urban populations where Democrats tend to do better, but let's spend some time and effort and energy really understanding what's happening in our rural communities too, so that we can help the people that we're going to be representing in Washington, and two, over time, start to change hearts and minds about what Democrats are about. So I will leave it there because I know we're a little bit behind schedule, so I will leave it on to the next person. But again, I really appreciate your time today and look forward to being the next Congresswoman of the 4th District of Kansas.
Thank you so much. I am absolutely inspired by the amazing women that we've heard speak so far. And Laura, I can't wait till you're a congresswoman. I know that the representation you're going to bring to that office is going to make sure that all Kansans feel like their voice is heard. As we transition, I want to take time to introduce Celeste Williams. Celeste decided to run for Congress because after 20 years working as a nurse, she realized there were some issues she couldn't fix in the exam room. Celeste is a graduate of Southern Nazarene University and the University of Arkansas for Medical Scientists. She works as a family nurse practitioner and is a member of the American Nurses Association, American Arkansas Nurses Association, and American Association of Nurse Practitioners. She is active in her community through Rotary and her church. She lives just outside of Bella Vista with her husband and 4 children, several chickens, a Rhodesian Ridgeback, 2 peacocks, 3 ducks, 2 rabbits, and a bearded dragon. Celeste believes no one should ever go broke because they get sick, and we believe that she is the right one to give us a shot of progressive values, and we want to welcome her now. Celeste?
Thank you so much. I am so excited to join you all on this super fun Zoom. I want to say thank you to the Democratic parties of Oklahoma, Missouri, Nebraska, Kansas, and certainly the great state of Arkansas. And I am so excited that we get to hear from Senator Elizabeth Warren soon, and I am very honored to be a part of this event. Certainly, turning the Heartland blue is a cause near and dear not only to my heart, but everyone else on this call as well. As he said, I am Celeste Williams. I grew up in rural Oklahoma like Senator Warren, and I have lived here in Arkansas for the past 2 decades. I have dedicated my life to serving others as a nurse, an educator, a foster parent, adoptive mother, and now a congressional candidate. As a family nurse practitioner, my clinic has been a revolving door of heartbreak, struggle, and fortunately success as well, a microcosm of the world around us, a world where some are doing really well, but far too many are not. And so after 24 years as a nurse, I know there are some things that I just cannot solve in an exam room. And that is why I am running for Congress. I believe in a future where no one goes broke just because they get sick, where we have a world-class education system, and that starts with pre-K, great K through 12. We focus on vocational training and affordable college education, and we restore the dignity of every worker in America by ensuring that they are paid a fair wage. And we protect Medicare and Social Security. And that is certainly something my opponent has supported, is a budget to cut Medicare and Social Security. And I think that is wrong. I believe that a budget is a moral document that shows what we care about and what we want to invest in for our future. I love the name of this event, Campaign Everywhere. And, you know, I believe very deeply in this mission. I think that when we look at the world as it is right now, I always think of that phrase, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And so each and every one of us who are here today, and those of us running for office, we are doing our best to bend that arc in a more just way so that every single person in our districts has an opportunity for a beautiful life where they can find their American dream and they get to live it. If we want change and we want to change the face of our government, we have to run everywhere. Progress cannot come without hard work and investment. and the South has something to say, and now is our time. Arkansas is this part of Arkansas is a changing district, and it certainly sounds like all of our opponents are cut from the same cloth. They all sound like they are absolute rubber stamps for the Trump administration and beholden to their corporate donors rather than their constituents. I am so honored to have had the endorsement of Senator Warren through the Warren Democrats. Like her, I believe we must tear down the economic barriers that prevent everyday Arkansans in District 3 from reaching their goals. We are forever grateful for the endorsement that we received from the Warren Democrats. Back in April, I was one of the first of 20 candidates that were endorsed, and it was such a breath of life to our campaign during economic uncertainty because of the pandemic. And we are committed to fighting the big fights, like making sure no one goes broke when they get sick, everyone has world-class education, and workers are paid fair wages. This district is dynamic, and our early voting numbers have us so excited. Folks are fired up and hungry for change. We've raised more money than any other previous Democrat running in this district, and without a single penny from corporate PACs. We launched our TV ad last week, and it's gotten a lot of attention. If you haven't seen it yet, you should. It's called Two Chicken, and we are holding my opponent, Steve Womack, accountable for his record of inaction. We're ready to launch a second TV ad this week, and we can only reach voters this way because of your investment in this district. You can check out more information about me and my campaign at CelesteWilliamsForArkansas.com and find us on social media. I would love for you to give us a like and a share. And certainly, if anyone is willing to invest in this movement, you will help us reach every voter and bring better leadership to Arkansas's 3rd Congressional District. 2020 is the 200th anniversary of Florence Nightingale's birth and was designated the Year of the Nurse. And that was a designation that was planned before this pandemic. And as we as a nation face the greatest healthcare challenge of our lifetime, I think it is absolutely the right time to elect a nurse. I'm ready to fight hard and dream big, and I hope that you will join me in this fight and all of our fights across the South and in every corner of this country. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak to all of you. I appreciate you.
And we appreciate you, like we appreciate all nurses, especially in this time. As you all have been on the front lines battling this pandemic, we want to make sure that we are showing up like you show up every single day. Like she said, go to her website, make sure you like her social media, and if you have the means, a donation goes a very, very, very long way in grassroots campaigns. We know that the other side is powered by PACs, and we are powered by the people. And so I'm super excited to have Celeste here, and we're excited to soon call you Congresswoman Williams. Now, next up, I have the honor and the privilege not just to introduce one of the best candidates I've ever had the opportunity to meet, but somebody that I get to call my friend. I can honestly say that because not only has she checked on me throughout the political spectrum, but she's checked on me in my personal life as well. Abby Broyles is not only an award-winning journalist and attorney, but she is a person of the people. She has dedicated her life to making sure not only is the truth always available for the public, but that transparency in her life is transparency in her work. She's running for U.S. Senate against Inhofe, not because she, like so many others, don't feel like he's connected to the community anymore, but because she knows that the sacrifice a senator makes is one to the community and to the state. She's not only been present and at the forefront of the fight for climate justice, but she's been present and forefront at the fight for economic justice for Oklahomans all across the state for her entire life. The unfortunate reality is her opponent is disconnected, and she wants to reconnect, re-engage, and reinvigorate Democrats in a state that they could consider to be crimson red. We know that's not true. We know that she's going to be the change that we need. We believe in her as a state, and I am proud to introduce my friend and my future Senator, Abby Broyles.
The host has disabled the video. Oh. Okay. Hi, Joshua, thank you. Sorry, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty there. Since we are talking about campaigning everywhere, we are in Tulsa right now, actually on the road, connecting with voters up until Election Day. And it is an honor to be part of this call. You know, I got in this race running against a completely out of touch Senator in Jim Inhofe. For those of you who aren't familiar, he's the one who brought the snowball onto the Senate floor a few years ago to try to say that climate change is a hoax. I got in this race because I personally saw firsthand how out of touch he is with everyday Oklahomans. I'm a lifelong Oklahoman. From the time I was a little girl, I knew I wanted to be a journalist. I rushed through college in 2.5 years to start my TV career when I was 20. I spent a decade on air as a news anchor and investigative reporter, exposing corruption and holding political leaders accountable. I put myself through law school at night to advocate for Oklahomans in the courtroom. And I got in this race after we covered a story at my news station for 2 years, military families dealing with mold and asbestos on base housing. The conditions were terrible, and they were calling Senator Inhofe's office for months, emailing him, and they got no response. So they started calling the news stations, and we told their stories each night on television. Then it was last October when Senator Inhofe finally came down to Tinker Air Force Base and held a press conference. And I watched him tell these families how nice their housing was. And if the housing was this nice when he was in the Army, he would have stayed longer. That is how out of touch this man is, offending military families. He touts his chairmanship of armed services, but couldn't protect our men and women in uniform in their very homes. I got in the race just a few weeks after that. I'm fighting for Oklahomans' health care. We have the second highest uninsured rate in the country. We have the fourth highest uninsured rate of children in the country. That is unacceptable. I have traveled the state, even during a pandemic, put a mask on and talked to families in parks. And they tell me they are making a choice between paying for health insurance or putting food on the table. In 2020, no one should go broke because they can't afford their health care. I want to provide quality, affordable health care to every Oklahoman, work to drive the cost of prescription drugs down. I also want to be an advocate for public education. I'm a product of Oklahoma Public Schools, and I have listened to parents and classroom teachers over the past couple of weeks through Zoom town halls, listening to the horrific circumstances they found themselves in because of a lack of leadership in Washington, D.C. Kids using their parents' cell phones to try to go to school, or kids in rural Oklahoma who don't have access to the internet. That's why I want to expand rural broadband. We need real leadership right now. And instead of my opponent, you have someone wanting to cram through this Supreme Court nominee instead of helping Oklahomans who are hurting, who are out of work, whose small businesses have closed. He has made this priority along with his buddies in an effort to abolish the Affordable Care Act right in front of our very eyes. We must protect the ACA. Here in Oklahoma, we just passed Medicaid expansion in June, and 200,000 Oklahomans are counting on their access to health care because the people of Oklahoma spoke and we voted yes on that state question. Now that is all in limbo. It's time for a senator who works for our working families, not Jim Inhofe, a career politician who is only looking out for himself. He's been in continual elected office since LBJ was president. Of course, he's out of touch with the realities Oklahomans face today. I was honored to also receive an endorsement from Senator Warren and the Warren Democrats. And it was an honor for me because I deeply admire the senator, but she is also an Oklahoman. She's from here and has the same values that so many of us have here: hard work, grit, perseverance. And we know when the job is tough, you send an Oklahoma woman to get it done. We have never elected a woman in Oklahoma to the U.S. Senate, and we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to flip this seat and put a woman at the table in the majority in the United States Senate. So we're very excited where our campaign is. We actually just outraised Senator Inhofe last fundraising quarter. We didn't take a dime of corporate PAC money. We are a campaign powered by people, as you heard Joshua say earlier. We have over 35,000 individual donors, and we have raised more money than any Democrat has ever raised running against this man in the past 25 years. We can do this. We can flip the Senate right here in Oklahoma. I would love your help. You can go to our website. It's abbybroyles.com. Check us out on social media. Help share our posts. If you want to chip in, join the many donors we have whose average contribution is $17, and that is how we are getting this job done. Every other commercial break, I feel like I look up and see Senator Warren with me on the air, using Inhofe using her endorsement against me. I'm proud of that, and she is a great example, and I'm just honored to be included in this group of incredible candidates running for office because we knew that we could not sit on the sidelines any longer. We have to take back our voice in Washington. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Josh, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you so much, Abby. Obviously, the professionals send it back to you. That journalist side still there. I'm always inspired when I hear you speak, and I'm super excited that I get the opportunity to vote for you. Next up, we have Nicole Galloway. Nicole's background isn't politics. She grew up in Fenton, and like so many Missourians, she was raised to respect the value of a dollar. As a kid, Nicole liked and was good at math. So she went to Missouri S&T, majoring in applied mathematics and economics. Then Nicole attended Mizzou, where she earned her MBA and became a licensed CPA and eventually certified fraud examiner. Nicole went on to serve as Boone County's treasurer and then Missouri state auditor. Today, Nicole lives in Columbia with her husband, John, and her 3 sons. Nicole is running for governor because she believes we need a new way. Governor Parsons has cut health care from 100,000 children, and by refusing to join Republican and Democratic governors from across the country in expanding Medicaid, he has let 7 rural hospitals close on his watch. For me, we have to do this and support her because from a rural community, we know the devastation that our communities experience when the Medicaid expansion was not accepted. We know, and she knows, that we can do it without raising taxes. We can do it by completely opening up the system and making it totally transparent so you know what's happening with your tax dollars. As an auditor, Nicole has uncovered more than $350 million in wasteful spending. And as governor, she'll make sure that the days of secret deals, backslaps, payouts, and favors for insiders will be over. Instead of wasting that money on favors, it will go towards making healthcare more affordable and ensuring every child in the state gets a quality education. That's not a Democratic agenda or a Republican agenda. That's a Missouri agenda. It's a new way agenda. And that's the type of change we need. But we'll only get it if we completely change how Jefferson County works and who it works for. Nicole has been an outsider in state government, the independent watchdog standing on the side of taxpayers, holding the powerful accountable to the people they serve, demanding transparency and fairness. The people of Missouri should know there is someone looking out for them. That's what you deserve, and that's why Nicole is running to be your governor. And I am absolutely honored to welcome her today.
Well, thank you, Joshua. Thank you so much. Thank you for that warm introduction. That was wonderful. And, you know, I'm so thankful to be joining you all this afternoon. And I know Abby just gave really amazing remarks. She is running a strong campaign in Oklahoma that's focused on the needs of working families, just like I am here in Missouri. And Oklahoma just passed Medicaid expansion this year, just like my state, Missouri. It's just another example that people everywhere, even in so-called red states, want healthcare for themselves, and they want their neighbors to have it too. Republicans all across the country desperately wanted this election to be about something other than this public health crisis and the cracks in our system that it has exposed, like chronic underinvestment in healthcare and the needs of our people. It has heightened the urgency around their efforts to eliminate the Affordable Care Act and the insurance coverage protections it means to provide women and millions of people, more than 2 million in my state, that have pre-existing conditions. It has also shown the cruelty of their longtime opposition to healthcare expansion. And it has exposed how entire communities have been left behind by an economic strategy that works really well for those at the top, but leaves regular folks struggling. In less than 2 weeks, change is coming, even in these supposed red states. When I launched my campaign for governor nearly a year ago, I never could have imagined where we would be today. But I knew even then that Missouri's working families needed a change, and I am even more certain of it now. The most important thing the next governor will have to do is defeat the virus and rebuild Missouri's economy, get it back on track. It's the most immediate issue our state is facing. But it is not the only one. We have so many challenges. A virus that is impacting our most vulnerable neighbors, the worst economic shock since the Great Depression, chronic underinvestment in healthcare and education, persistent gun violence, and tough conversations about how to make our state more equitable and just. None of these things can be sidelined in favor of focusing on just one because these issues are interconnected. If we fail to get the economic crisis that's devastating budgets at every level under control, we won't be able to deal with any of these other issues effectively. We're not going to get our economy back on track, get our schools fully reopened for in-person learning, get back to business, stabilize our budgets until we control and contain the spread of the coronavirus. I'm running for governor to put Jefferson City back on the side of working families and to act with urgency to protect our fellow Missourians. Our current governor, Mike Parson, has failed the test of leadership. He had his chance. It is time for a change. When it became clear this spring that the governor needed to issue a statewide order to flatten the curve, Governor Parson resisted. He was slow to act. And then in May, he penned an op-ed in the Washington Post declaring mission accomplished over COVID in May. When public health officials urged Missourians to wear a mask, Governor Parson instead stood up for those who wanted to defy public health and local government guidance. He went to campaign rallies and revved up his supporters by saying he wouldn't issue a mask rule for Missouri. He waited this spring to close all the schools until all of them already had made that decision on their own, and then spent the next 5 months doing nothing to prepare for them to reopen. And as a mom, I have 3 little kids. I'm eager for my boys to get back to in-person learning. It's vital for them, but it's also vital for our economy so parents can get back to work. Instead, Governor Parson went on the radio in July and said it didn't matter how bad COVID was in our state, that kids will just get COVID when they go back to school, but they'll go home and get over it. For our kids, for our families, for our teachers and school staff, in Governor Parson's mind, we're all just going to have to get over his failure to lead. In recent days, cases, positivity rates, and hospitalizations are reaching new highs in our state. This past spring, people gave up so much to protect the public health. Lost wages, time with family, graduation, celebrations. Today, it's hard to understand what we have to show for it. Missouri needs a reset on our COVID strategy, and we need it fast. And Missouri needs health care. Governing is about setting the priorities. My priorities are healthcare and recovery. I share these priorities with millions of working families in the state of Missouri who are today struggling with the fallout from this pandemic. Then, it's not just good enough to go back to where we were on the eve of this crisis, because where we were wasn't good enough for too many people. We have to build back better. And throughout the Midwest, Democrats are rising to the challenge. So thank you. Thank you for your support of our party and these fantastic candidates.
And thank you. I am super excited to know that that Missouri will have such a strong governor, one that is truly of the people. And I'm excited to see you sworn into office here soon. I might even try to come out there. I love Missouri, especially the barbecue. Like you said, go to the website, make sure that you're donating. I want to be very, very brief in this next introduction because our main speaker is here and we're so excited to have her. But I would be remiss if I didn't take time to introduce my friend, my mentor, my counterpart on the DNC, the citizen of Choctaw Nation, an attorney and former DA of a city that I used to live in, representing the Department of Justice so well. Kaylin, I'll give it over to you.
Thank you so much, Joshua. I really appreciate it. I am so honored to introduce our keynote speaker for this event. We are so proud that she hails from Oklahoma, that she is a progressive voice in the Senate, and that she champions all of the issues that are so important to those who desperately need a voice in Washington, D.C. And she is a friend and champion of Indian country. With all due respect to our next president, Joe Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris, Senator Warren was the smartest person on those debate stages. She has a plan for everything, and I'm excited to hear about her plans for the run-up to Election Day, the transition, her predictions, and her guidance. Please join me in welcoming my hero and constant inspiration and Oklahoma's favorite daughter, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is such a wonderful introduction, Kaylin. I really appreciate it. And hello, Democrats. 12 days. I don't know about you, but I can't wait. We know what a terrible state our country is in. People are dying hundreds a day from an infectious disease that we could have had under control by now. Our economy is being squeezed to the breaking point. People can no longer deny the evidence of profound racial injustice in this country. And now, at this very moment, with all of this going on, instead of trying to deal with these problems, Republicans are focused on only one thing: trying to steal another Supreme Court seat, a seat that could undermine our values for generations to come. This is truly a time of crisis for our nation. And as Democrats, we know that in times of crisis, government can be a powerful force for good, but only when decisions are made by leaders who have compassion and a determination to uplift everyone. That is what, quite frankly, Donald Trump is just incapable of doing. And that is what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are committed to doing. It is basically just that simple. And that is why our number one job is to help Joe and Kamala win this election. But Joe and Kamala cannot do this by themselves. We need Democrats, strong, progressive Democrats who are able to provide the strength and the leadership at every level, in Congress, in the governor's office, in state legislatures. We need strong Democratic leaders, not just in some states. We need them in all states. We need to be in this fight for our future, not just in Massachusetts or California. We need to give voters a chance to be in this fight all around our nation. And here's why that matters. In the struggle to achieve social, racial, and economic justice, you don't get what you don't fight for. When we decide to lead with our values, even when the odds are stacked against us, we accomplish two things. First, we give hope to people who are standing on the sidelines, showing them they are not alone in imagining an America that works for all of us. But the second thing we do when we fight against the odds is one of my favorite things to do. We scare Republicans straight. We make it clear you can't fight to repeal health care, steal a Supreme Court seat, stand on the wrong side of justice, and face no consequences. Now, even with all that said, we know that we face an uphill battle, and that is where you come in. If we want to make the structural changes that we need to make to elect Democrats up and down the ballot, and to do that, we need to fight for change. In big, bold blue states? No, that's not enough. We need to bring the fight for a government that works for everyone, to red states. We need to bring it to Oklahoma and Missouri and Kansas and Arkansas and Nebraska. We need to flip red states blue in the House. We need to take back the Senate. We need to do it because democracy as we know it is on the line. So here's my pitch. Let's put it all on the line for the next 12 days. Let's win big. That's part one. Then we celebrate, party big, and then we get right back in the fight for big structural change. Our nation has experienced one soul-crushing crisis after another this year, but even during these trying times, the fighting spirit of the American people has prevailed. We've seen what's possible when we stand up for our neighbors and when we protect each other. We've made sacrifices, we've pitched in, we've fought uphill, and we've done things we never thought we could. And now we've got one more hill to climb. We've got one more hill to climb for the team that's going to help us set things right. So I hope you're all ready to go up that hill, to elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, to go up that hill to take back the Senate, to go up that hill to expand our House majority, to go up that hill to elect Democrats up and down the ballot all across this country. Because I believe this, if we stand together, if we fight together, if we persist together, we're going to win. It is an honor to fight alongside all of you.
I cannot put into words how excited we are to have you here. Obviously, such a powerful message for all Democrats. And what we know and what she so eloquently said is that it's on us to do the work to make sure that we are electing Democrats everywhere. This program is about campaigning everywhere. I hope all of you watching will go one step further and make sure you go to each and every single candidate's website and make a contribution. It doesn't have to be much. We know that those small dollar donations make a difference. We're so excited to have so many amazing people representing us across the country. We're so excited that you took the time to join us for this event. And I want to thank all of the amazing folks, especially those in the background who came together to make this event happen. We couldn't have done it without you. We cannot do it without you, the viewer. And we are excited and thrilled to make sure that election day, we all wake up knowing we gave 150%. To those out there who are ready to support our favorite uncle, Joe Biden, and the woman who affectionately referred to me as cousin, Senator Kamala Harris, we're excited to support you. We're excited to vote down ballot, and we're excited to be Democrats in this country right here. Thank you all for joining us. We're excited to be here. We're excited. We're excited. We're excited. Make sure you are too. Give 100.